Welcome to the programme. The rocky relationship between the US and Afghanistan has hit a new low. President Hamid Karzai has approved the release of 72 suspected Taliban fighters. The United States considers them to be dangerous criminals involved in the wounding and killing of international troops. But Karzai says a review of their cases turned up insufficient evidence of wrongdoing. Well, the view from Washington DC in just a minute, but first, Jane Ferguson has this from Kabul.
Early last year, US forces handed over control of their largest prison in Afghanistan to the Afghan authorities. In recent weeks, a row has erupted over 88 prisoners, which the Afghan government have said they will release because there is insufficient evidence to keep detaining them. Now, today, President Hamid Karzai held a meeting of senior judicial figures as well as intelligence figures who presented their evidence against the 88. Now, the intelligence figures had also been looking into the cases of these 88 men, as well as the review board, and they both came back and said that 72 of the 88 men have insufficient or no evidence against them, and recommended that they be released as soon as possible. Now, this is likely to incense the Americans, who have been very vocal about this subject, saying that all of the men of the 88 are very dangerous, are responsible for attacks and killings of Afghan civilians, Afghan security forces and international forces in the country. Now, the Afghans are saying they have no evidence to suggest that, and that they simply have to release these men. The Americans say they gave them evidence, and that the review board does not have the authority to simply release people, and that only a court of law in Afghanistan should be doing that. Now, there has not been a release date announced yet, but this is likely to be an extremely big row between the two sides, who already have deteriorating relations. Just to complicate matters even more, the Afghan Human Rights Association here, who deal with detainees across the country, have said that this is much more legally intricate than that, and that the Americans may actually have a final say as to whether or not these men could be released. So this argument is likely to go on in the coming days.
And Rosiland Jordan has more from Washington DC.
The Obama administration has been asking the Karzai government for months not to release any of the detainees who are thought to be members of the Taliban. The Obama administration's view is very simple. These men are dangerous and they're better off behind bars. This is the State Department spokesperson, Jen Psaki.
I expect a statement will be coming out from DoD, but let me just reiterate some of our views from here. We have expressed our concerns over the possible release of these detainees without their cases being referred to the Afghan criminal justice system. We've seen reports, as you noted, that President Karzai has approved the release of 72 of the 88 detainees under review. As you may also know, these 72 detainees are dangerous criminals against whom there is strong evidence linking them to terror-related crimes, including the use of improvised explosive devices, the largest killer of Afghan civilians. These insurgents, who pose threats to the safety and security of the Afghan people and the state, are being released without an investigation and without the use of criminal justice system in accordance with Afghan law.
The Pentagon is also expected to comment on this apparent decision from the Karzai government to release 72 of 88 men, suspected Taliban members, from the Bagram prison. However, they also have this main concern that releasing these men without having them go through the court system is undermining Afghanistan's attempts to impose rule of law in their country.